Five, four, three, two, one.好，同志们，好，同志们，我们都在轰轰烈烈的，站起来，站起来！Welcome to the 282nd edition of China Now with your gang of two. Nan Su, who is the senior investigative reporter for Epoch Times, and Michael Olson, who long ago was dissuaded from being a China hand by the great helmsman himself, Mao Zedong. 谢谢你. Each week, Nansu and I look out across the broad expanse of the Pacific Ocean from our home port here at SantaCruzVoice.com, and we ask, China now, friend or foe, war or peace? Ni hao, Nansu.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are.
We're all over the world now. Well, Nansu, in spite of President Trump threatening to bomb Iran into oblivion, they did not strike a deal with the U.S. And that's the way it went. But instead of bombing Iran into oblivion, Trump agreed to a ceasefire, blockaded Iran's coastline, and now appears to be in total control of Iran and the Persian Gulf. Yes, the ceasefire is on, and President Trump claims to have opened the Hormuz Strait just for the benefit of Xi Jinping. But Nansu, do you think Trump has made Xi happy with what he has done over the past month or so? Or do you think Xi Jinping is boiling mad under his cool as cucumber countenance? Hmm.
I think Xi Jinping is scared to death. Now, Trump has all the upper hand cards in control. So uh, I would say next month, hopefully, by the time next month, May 14th and 15th, when he go visit Beijing, uh, everything. That's why I truly hope, which I'm kind of like a little bit worried now, that I'm hoping by the by the time he goes to Beijing, everything in Hong Kong, I'm sorry, everything in Iran, it's settled down.
Settle down under control. Well, yeah, one certainly hopes that, but given the amount of change that goes on over there, it's hard to imagine what could happen, but I guess we'll hold our breath for a month and hope that everything Trump has put into effect holds and that he maintains the control and forces an agreement with the people who are running Iran. And who knows who's running Iran right now? Does anybody know?
Well, officially, it's supposed to be Mujtaba Khamenei, right? The Khamenei Jr. basically. Now I'm not really optimistic for the blockade will work in the short
Ah,
term. Yeah, I'm kind of like that's why I say I was a little worried. Uh, because all this kind of a blockade, it will take a long time to become effective. Look at Cuba,
mhm.
the sanctions been going on for like almost a century, right? So
Well, there've been sanctions, and we've had sanctions on Iran, and none of them have totally shut down Iran or Cuba, for that matter. But now it's a blockade, and we've essentially sealed off um, Iran's economy.
well, yes, or but see, they still have that train goes to Central Asia, right?
Right?
So they can still get their necessity over there. They just don't have much of income. Now I would suspect in the future China will provide some sort of a necessity to them to keep them going. This is what I'm thinking. That's probably what's going to happen. I don't think it's going to go that easy. The Iranian regime's system is very, very similar to China's.
Yes.
It's just a different ideology, driving the system.
It's the same party with different names.
Well,
One,
no,
one,
no, no, it's not. It's not the same party, right? If the war on if the say if you send the communist regime and Iranian regime to a different planet, they're gonna fight against each other, right?
well, sure.
They're gonna kill each other. But because they're on the earth and because they have a common enemy as United States, so they all, China, it's in their heart. They're talking about death to America, and Iran, they
Absolutely.
just say openly. So that's why they're not killing each other. Yet they need each other to support each other. So,
Well, when I said same party, what I meant was they acted in the same way in taking over a country, in
that's right.
subsuming a country and turning that country uh, from a country into essentially into a wholly owned property, a prison camp, wherein the party, whether it's a communist party or the Islamic Republican Guard Party, regardless of what they call it, is in total control of the country, of their prison. And the way they have established that control is very similar.
That's right. Yeah, it's very similar. But what I'm thinking is, I think you need one more wave of military operation. What we have seen is that because the a super successful U.S. military operation, so now we brought them to the negotiation table, which means the the realist uh, faction in the Iranian regime now had inside the system. It's strong enough to come forward to lead the negotiation direction of the regime, which they to talk to the United States. But however, I don't think we have weakened the the hardline part faction enough.
I think they
So
call it what the IRG, the yeah,
IRGC
this,
and all this all the mullahs. And
yeah.
you look at mullahs, we have not really bomb enough of those mullahs, except the Khamenei, we will kill him, right? So I think that you need another wave of major military operation. It's not the Personally, I don't think we are up to the point that we should just stop and using the economic sanction to pressure them
um,
come to the table yet. I think it needs a little more.
They're not in the mood to sign an unconditional surrender to the United
Well, they are
States. And
not in
that's
the
what Trump is asking for.
Right, they are not in the mood yet to give up the nuclear weapon. We can clearly see that. It's just not yet. And but that is the whole point of starting this military operation. Don't forget,
That's right.
it's not about Hormuz. We don't need a Hormuz. We don't even care. We don't we should have let our European airline to take care of their own Hormuz problem. Our issue is purely, it shall be purely focused on
So why
Iran nuclear program.
why did our European allies not step up to the plate?
They're all chicken out. They're not just the chicken out, they're totally corrupted. I think United States, U.S. government, it's up to the point we have to withdraw from NATO. We can't count on them. Instead of keep spending money on NATO, just let it go. Look at the United States between World War I and World War II. We don't have NATO. We don't have to take care of NATO. We just take care of ourselves.
I think Europe is bankrupt. The United Kingdom is so deficient. What once was the greatest naval power in history now can't even send a destroyer to support its base in Cyprus, which was under attack.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And
Well, all
so
the
if they are
well,
just
they have a
bank,
lot more problem than
yeah,
economically bankrupt. They have, you look at Spain. The Spain's prime minister. The Spain government didn't let the United States military to use the military base in Spain, which we pay for it. The United States
road in
government.
Spain, yeah.
Yeah, we pay for it. They don't allow us to use it. That's a big no, no, right? And not just that they don't want our military to use it, and they just Spain's prime minister just visited Beijing, right? It's like they turn to our enemies now. I think we'll just let it go. I mean, what we're not obligated to
You
protect.
know,
Why
the
why
thought
why
of the thought of letting them go is kind of attractive, but also very frightening because they were our great ally in World War II when it got right down to it. And now,
not just our great ally, we literally liberate them, right?
yeah,
Well,
and rebuilt
otherwise,
them and rebuilt
yeah,
them. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So,
it's a very tough thing to face up to the fact that we're losing them as we are. But
well,
we appear
the key is, let me repeat what I have been saying. You can, treat our enemy. We can treat our enemy like a China, like a Russia, like a Iran. We can treat them with DEI. It just doesn't
that
work.
doesn't work. Yeah. Well, we treated our European friends with DEI, and now they appear to be in a state of dissolution and dissipation and unable to to stand at our back. And we've appeared to have lost them.
It
And
just
that's pretty
doesn't work.
frightening.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
just doesn't work. Yeah, it's like it's a humanity. Humanity never change. It's not like you have the great compassion, and you can change the humanity. There are certain things you just have to keep going. You have to realize that humanity has its weakness. It doesn't work that way. You have when you deal with the world, you have to realize the problem of humanity, and you have to deal with in the correct way.
And maybe the correct way is a little tough love, which appears to be in the offing. Well, let's turn our back then to some of the news of the week from China and in and about China. First thing that caught my attention, Nansu, is that the CCP, in the form of Wang Yi, who is the Secretary of State for the CCP, went running to North Korea, which was the first time, I think, in 10 years that he's been to North Korea. And it appears as though he's very worried about what Kim Jong-un thinks about the current state of affairs with respect to, I don't know, China losing its Iran ally. So the axis of evil is falling apart. So they want to know what Kim Jong-un thinks about the current situation. And so Wang Yi goes over, what's going on? What do you think, Kim Jong-un?
Well, first of all, that visit has a little problem, right? Because in the past, always it never, it actually never happened to have for the foreign minister to visit North Korea. Yeah, China never had its North Korea has its foreign minister to represent the communist regime in China to visit North Korea. It always has a party official. Usually it's one of the standing committee member of the Politburo to visit North Korea. It's a party to party relation. It's
Ah,
it's not a government to government relation. So
or not a country to country relation. It's a party to party relation.
that it's correct. But now the fact that the Beijing sent a foreign minister to North Korea, that symbolized some problem there. We can see clearly North Korea. Kim Jong Un already stepped forward saying yeah, they want to help Iran. Openly saying that. I think Putin it also made some sort of more or less statement. Now, China kind of it's taking China is interesting, right? The communist regime
Well,
over
just
there.
a sec before you proceed. With the outbreak of hostilities in Iran, North Korea, Kim Jong-un stepped forward and said, I want to help, but has done nothing to help,
But he doesn't have the capacity, right?
right?
It's more of a gesture.
Yeah.
And I think they are using that to more or less give some political pressure to Beijing, which make Beijing unhappy. I think that maybe that's the reason they actually send Wang Yi. Uh, by the way, Wang Yi it's a Politburo member.
Yeah.
He's just not inside the standing committee member. So I believe one part of it is actually Wang Yi is more familiar with all these Middle East as well as the relation with United States, with Europe, with all these international relations with different countries.
And
Uh,
he was the principal wolf warrior
yes,
for China too. He was the one who addressed the United States in Anchorage
right.
during the Biden administration and said, "You people aren't worthy of having a conversation with us."
That's right. I think that maybe it's the main reason, they are sending Wang Yi instead of a party official to North Korea this time. Maybe that's the main reason.
So,
Uh, Now
would
this
it
is
not
just
indicate also indicate that things are more serious?
not the serious, but he's more familiar with it.
Okay.
I think Beijing actually feel this time they need a lot more detailed explanation to Kim Jong Un to quiet him, to calm him down. Yeah, Kim Jong Un is obviously worry a lot, and now Beijing need to do a lot more explanation why Beijing it's not strongly supporting Iranian. Seeing, I think probably Iranian already complained. Maybe Iranian regime already badmouth with with Kim Jong Un already, accusing Beijing's leader.
Beijing of turning their back on. Yeah,
Right, right.
wonder.
Yeah. I think they already talked to. They probably not only talked to Kim Jong Un, but they also probably also talked to Putin. So, you see in the past few years, the Ukraine war, what China has done. Well, it's still um because Russia has been militarily very strong in the past, but Iranian regime never, right? So it need a kind of help from Beijing, but Beijing just didn't do anything. So I think it make this evil axis, the other members of in the axis actually feel worried. And currently both Putin and North Korea clearly don't have the kind of a power and capability to help Iran, and China is the only one left to help Iran. But China did not, or at least
Yeah.
have not. So
So, so the axis of evil being Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran.
yeah,
And
and that's the core. That's the
that's the
core. And
core.
then you have other
Then you had Venezuela,
and then
and you Cuba,
yeah, some of those Central Asia countries, I call them those stand
the
countries.
stand countries, yeah.
Yeah. So now I think they worry and they kind of more or less and it let this kind of things surfaced, or it's actually coming out. Can actually the international society can actually see how they difference from each other. So now that the Beijing sending Wang Yi, because Wang Yi knows more about, you know, about this is he's a professional, right? This is his
Sure.
profession.
He's their man.
Yeah, if they send somebody else, like some of the standing Politburo member, then that guy may not even know what he's
Yeah,
talking.
Kim Jong-un would say, "Who are you and what are you doing here and why aren't you just defending Iran and what's
They can't
going on? Am
explain
I
it.
to rely on you watching how you've let Iran down? I
Yeah,
don't think so. So, you need somebody with a lot of juice to
yeah. A
deliver the
lot of
message."
inside information and
Yeah.
expertise to do that kind of explanation. So I think that's what's happening. But I'm not quite sure because it's always a black box. But however, I think that's the main reason they're sending, the top diplomat of Beijing, to
Yeah.
deal with this kind of situation.
You know, a lot of people refer to the lack of opacity in with respect to Chinese politics and whatnot as the black box. I sometimes think of it more like a black hole in which energy never comes out. It only goes in. But at any rate, we really don't know. But we watch things like Wang Yi running quickly over to North Korea, and we speculate as to what that could possibly mean deep within the CCP. Well, the next item on our menu today is the leader of Taiwan's opposition party goes to visit Xi Jinping, and that was I found to be very interesting. So we'll pick that up when we come back from this brief message. So please stay tuned. This is China Now with Nansu, Michael Olson, and you.
Your business needs more space? Space is reasonable, secured, and accessible 24/7 for qualified businesses at Anbar Self Storage and U-Haul. Easy off Highway 1 on Airport Boulevard. Anbar Self Storage and U-Haul in Freedom.
The kid is moving her family to Sacramento. Anbar Self Storage and U-Haul has the moving vans, car trailers, and shipping boxes she needs ready to go. Easy off Highway 1 on Airport Boulevard. Anbar Self Storage and U-Haul in Freedom.
Attention investors. This is a simple commercial on the investment value of gold. Gold continues to make new highs. In good markets and in bad markets, you need to have your portfolio balanced with gold. Learn about owning physical gold or getting a gold-backed IRA. Make this simple call right now. 800-414-1657. 800-414-1657. That's 800-414-1657. Sponsored by Reagan Gold.
There's more than one way to enjoy the benefits of cannabis. Hi, I'm Johnny from the Hook Outlet in Capitola, Santa Cruz, and Watsonville. With topicals, the Hook Outlet has many topical preparations that provide localized relief for pain and inflammation of muscles and joints without psychoactive effects. The Hook Outlet has a friendly staff to help you select the right topical for your needs. Pain relief, anyone? Stop by and say hi at the Hook Outlet in Capitola, Santa Cruz, and Watsonville. Find us fast online at hookoutlet.com.
The weather will change. Knox Roofing here. We all remember the story of the three little pigs. We all know the third pig hired Knox Roofing to do his roof. Every day he crawls into his home knowing no wind, no earthquake, fire, or even the big bad wolf can hurt his house. The weather will change for the good and sometimes not so good. Have a Knox roof installed on your home, and one thing you can be certain of, good security. I promise you that. The number to call is 461-0634. Thanks, folks.
Welcome back. This is China Now, 中国现在, with your gang of two, Nansu and Michael Olson. Each week we look across the broad expanse of the Pacific Ocean and try to figure out China now, friend or foe, war or peace. Well, one of the things, as I said before the break, that captured my attention, of course, was the visit of Taiwan's opposition party, the Kuomintang, for a visit to Xi Jinping in Beijing. It was a very interesting meeting to me because I think this gal that is now head of the Kuomintang is a very impressive character who reminds me a lot of a famous World War II diplomat by the name of Neville Chamberlain. In that,
Well,
she
it's probably a lot worse.
yeah.
I don't know why she's doing that, but clearly, her agenda is hurting Taiwan's security in the great extent. It worries me a lot about Taiwan's safety and the peace at Taiwan Strait, seeing, KMT party turning this way. It's just totally corrupted.
Well, it always seemed to me that if China had been a little more astute at sales and marketing, it could have just walked into Taiwan and taken it over just by being nice and doing business and focused on building a relationship. But instead, it really developed under Xi Jinping that he would be responsible for taking Taiwan over by force. And that kind of galvanized the country and the people and the world against Xi Jinping and the CCP. So I think had they been a little bit more astute, they could have just walked right in and taken over. But they didn't. And somehow they reached out and found this gal, or this gal found them. And what she seems to be saying is that all we need to do is work hand in hand with the CCP, and we can have, as Neville Chamberlain said in World War II, peace in our time. And so she comes back from Beijing as Neville Chamberlain came back from Berlin, and he stepped off the airplane and he waved his white piece of paper that had an agreement with Adolf Hitler that there would be peace in our time. And that seems to be exactly what she's up to, is to negotiating Taiwan out from underneath the people and into the hands of the CCP.
Yeah, the problem is the KMT party as an opposition party in Taiwan right now, they're blocking the increase of their defense budget. So that's really worry. I don't care if she goes to Beijing talk to Xi Jinping, but that I care more about if Taiwan will have enough defense budget to so that they can build enough capacity to defend itself. That's the main problem right now.
Which is very similar to the place that the United States seems to be in as we speak. You have a very bullish uh, President Donald Trump, who's all about engaging the world on our terms and taking over. And by golly, we're going to make America great again. And by golly, I think if he pulls off this Iran gambit, he probably will take a big step in toward making America great again. But you have fully half the population who doesn't think so, who doesn't think that Trump is doing the right thing, and furthermore, would like to do everything they would like to Iran to win the war just to get rid of Trump. It seems. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems that way if you listen to what they have to say. So is not this situation in Taiwan very similar to what we have here in the United States with a divided nation?
Yes, but but yes or no, okay? United States, the divide not only comes with how we dealing with the international relation, right? But we have all other issues. Uh, Here, like social values and economic principles, how to deal with immigrants. You got a lot of all aspect across the board, right? But while you go to Taiwan, they don't have the immigrant problem. They don't, and then
One of the richest economies in the world.
right, they don't have that problem. The problem is, the only, and then, and also it's the conservative party that has the conservative social value. uh, that party, it's have a closer. That's the KMT party have a very close relation with the CCP, while the Liberal Party on the left, liberal with liberal,
Which
the
would
social
correspond to
values.
our
Yeah,
Democrat
social
Party.
values.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pro the independence. So it's it's just totally
totally different.
different.
And
Uh,
and it's very interesting to me, of course, we talked about this last week, how the Kuomintang, which was the party of Chiang Kai-shek, which is the party that was kicked out of China by the Chinese Communist Party, uh, and landed on Taiwan or Formosa. How they became the party that wants to reestablish this relationship with China. I find that really interesting. But there she is. What does she have to sell in terms of what does the Kuomintang party have to sell that would attract buyers in the Taiwanese people?
well, they're just selling Taiwan. That's what it is. Um, Now,
I mean, what do they have to sell by establishing closer relationship with a country that wants to just take them over?
well, well inside Taiwan. What they say is they say if they Taiwan is if Taiwan becomes militarily stronger, that that will result in the invasion of a CCP. And but if they keep a weaker position, then CCP will not worry them. That's kind of a theory they're selling in Taiwan.
I don't
With
think I'd buy that one.
Nobody is
Mhm.
buying that, but there are a bunch of people buying that. And she's not the only one doing that. You know, the KMT party has been doing that for 21 years. The first visit was 21 years ago, 2005. That then KMT party chairman Lian Zhan visited Beijing, breaking the ice, the breaking the ice ever since 1949. And then they establish that kind of a relation. It's been always that way, moving towards that direction. It's just really bad. But we made the same mistake of too, because whatever CCP has been doing in Taiwan, oh, I'm sorry, I take it back. Wherever the infiltration that CCP has been doing in the United States ever since we allowed them to join WTO in 2001, they all tested, in Taiwan as a testing ground. Taiwan's business and economic relationship with China, it started a lot earlier
Sure.
than
And
United States.
in a much more natural way. Hey, we're still brothers and sisters and cousins, so let's put aside this communist and business and just do business. When Deng Xiaoping opened up the country, I mean, that was just a natural.
Yeah. So that you can see the infiltration of CCP in Taiwan. It's a lot worse than their infiltration here in the United States.
Well, the interesting thing, Cheng's visit, she gave a press conference and she used a lot of Xi Jinping terminology, such as a peace framework. Uh, she used a national rejuvenation and a shared destiny, which is something that Xi Jinping talks about. The world has a shared destiny, which
The
of course
common destiny.
common destiny, which means you're all going to be under my thumb as soon as I can make it so. And that's your destiny. So she used the CCP terms, and it was like she was a CCP representative uh, in Taiwan.
And
And that was
also
kind of
yeah,
unsettling stuff.
yeah, and also when she was in Beijing, meeting with Xi Jinping and visiting different places, uh, everything she did was criticize Japan. You know,
Yeah.
Japan is right now stepping forward, trying to help the security and peace at Taiwan Strait and Taiwan safety. And she was there criticizing Taiwan, criticize Japan for the purpose of get along, get a better relation with Beijing. That's her selling point uh, in China.
Yeah.
She's trying to make Japan the common enemy of KMT party and CCP, which is I
Well,
don't.
it's historically, it's probably a pretty easy thing to work on when it gets right down to it, given what happened during World War II. So she's using whatever weapon she can
Well,
to,
which also I think it's stupid, right? That because most of the people in Taiwan, they are local heritage, right? Taiwanese
right.
heritage. You can the well, they all, and nationality wise, they're all Chinese, but the cutoff line is 1945. The people from China to Taiwan prior to 1945, prior to Japanese
That's,
governments.
yeah, that's very interesting. Do you have any idea what the percentages of that what population split would be?
Oh, I would say 70, 80%,
Or would be
There's a lot.
Taiwanese and not
Yeah,
Chinese?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
basically, well, you can say they're all Chinese, but
Yeah.
then a lot of Taiwanese wouldn't be happy when you say they're Chinese, right? But the nationality wise, I'm talking of the blood.
Right.
It's the same blood, but right. Basically the people the what they call native people. It's just the or local people.
Yeah.
Uh, they're
Indigenous people.
Right. Well, they have indigenous people too, but it's a very, very small group. It's probably less than, I don't know, less than half million.
Yeah.
You have total 23 million people over there. There is indigenous people that living very high in the mountain, and similar to Indian tribes. They're still tribal society over there. But when the common language that called the local Taiwanese defined as the people who from mainland China to Taiwan prior to 1945,
Yeah.
prior to Japanese lost the war, World
Right.
War II. And the ones who go after that, they are they're considered the Chinese after they lost the Civil War to the CCP. They went to China, right?
Well,
They Taiwan,
if the mainlanders, if you will, are a
yeah.
minority, how did they get to be a majority party in Taiwan?
No, 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 no. They are not the majority of our population,
They're a
but
minority of the population,
yeah,
but they
well,
are a majority in the legislature, the
yes. Well,
Guomindang.
they have it's because the way the Kuomintang control, right? They when the KMT party, the US military handed Taiwan to KMT party in 19 after 1945 to let them in control, based on the Egypt, I'm sorry, Cairo proclamation and Potsdam proclamation, because the KMT party and the Chinese government prior to 1949, it was, especially during World War II, was the ally of United States helping us in the Pacific regional war. So we kind of like just gave Taiwan to
Right
not
here.
sovereignty, right?
Yeah.
Legally, we have never gave the sovereignty of Taiwan to their government. Never. There's no such a language. Uh,
Legally, the United States is still the landlord of
of
Taiwan.
Taiwan, right? But however, we led them, right? We led the KMT party's military in 1945 to receive the surrender of Japanese military in Taiwan. Now, what I'm trying to say here is keep in mind to Taiwanese to local Taiwanese people during World War II. They are part of Japan. They are fighting in to help Japanese military in World War II. You know,
Right.
now how can she that turn around to it's just
Well, when you
it's a
own the
bizarre
past,
it's a bizarre way which will make her both sides looking really bad,
yeah.
right? She's looking back by the people in Japan, and she's also looking very bad by the local Taiwanese people.
Which are a majority of the country, but a minority in the legislature. Going to be interesting to see how that one shakes out. We're going to watch that one closely because it really is key. The population of Taiwan is key to the future of Taiwan and its relationship with with China. One more quick story before we close out now, and that's the story of the bomb threats to Shenyang that can occur all over the world. Now, I read recently that somebody asserts that Xi Jinping personally is directing this attack, this bomb threat attack on Shenyang performances around the world. And I can't, being a fan of Shenyang myself, uh, and its beauty and grace, and the way it expresses another China, a different China, the China of our dreams, rather than the China of the Chinese Communist Party, the prison camp of the Chinese Communist Party. I can see why Xi Jinping would be frightened of the presentation.
Yes, it's true. It's always happening. It has happened all around the world, but then we see different ways of dealing with that threat. You know that last year, I think it was actually the year before last year, 2024 December, when Shen Yun performed in San Jose, they also have the bomb threat.
Mhm.
But
Well,
it's just, but because that in San Jose, because they have been threatened for so many times, they basically they actually, I believe they sent some security. The city sent some security force that day when the performance was there. Um,
go through with
so
bomb sniffing dogs or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
Because
Well, but they
it's
didn't. Well, and this year they're just all over the world,
yeah, it
in
seems
many
to be
different countries.
institutionalized.
Right. And but different countries have different ways dealing with it. Australia, they actually not only threaten Shen Yun, but they also threat the Prime Minister of Australia too. They say they didn't only saying that they put a bomb in the theater. They also say they put a bomb in the Prime Minister's home. Um, but they're dealing with it in different way. The Australian government have the theater open. They probably increase the security level. Uh, and Canada, in I think it's, well, I'm not sure it was in either Vancouver or maybe the capital of Canada, that they actually canceled the whole show.
Wow.
So they're totally chickening out. Um,
But
uh,
Toronto just had a bomb scare, and they actually were able to get a hold of the letter and traced it back to Xi'an, China. So it's coming right coming right out of China, and they tracked the social media of the perp and found that him to be bragging of having great connections with the CCP. So, this clearly is an orchestrated attempt to limit free speech all over the world and to subvert the rights of individual countries to listen to what somebody has to say. And so this is a threat.
well, they have been
to-
doing that. The CCP has been doing that all over the world. Uh, they have been doing that this kind of a,
yes.
but it becomes a bomb threat. It was just in the recent years. It was usually the CCP's consul general or their embassy in the Western world. They'll just make a phone call directly to the venue and threaten that ask them to uh, uh, to cancel the show. But all these years been go by, and then all these the theaters they train basically they don't care anymore. So now CCP it's basically doing the terrorist way, bomb threat now. Um, in the way try to stop
So
Sun
we
Yun.
see this continuing escalation
Right.
against people having a say about a different kind of China. You
Well,
are
it's the
not
China,
allowed
right?
in
People will walk away from Shen Yun performance to have an idea what China could be if without
yes.
communist regime. That's what
And
Shen Yun is about.
you are not allowed to have that opportunity to listen. Why? Because we are frightened of what you might think. And so therefore we are imposing our will or attempting to posing our will on the entire world, this from the CCP, that you must not listen to anything we do not want you to listen to.
Yeah, that's
That is what's going on here.
well, that it's been that way inside China all these years in the past,
Yes, but it's been that China's a prison.
right?
You're only allowed to think or listen to what the warden and his guards tell you to think and listen to. That's it. But now are attempting to impose their will on the entire world's population,
That,
onto countries, uh, independent countries that have no obligations to the CCP or to China. But the CCP and Xi Jinping um, are demanding that they do not listen. It to me,
that's true. That's true. Now they have been, although they have been doing that for many years, but Xi Jinping, based on our information, that Xi Jinping had an internal party meeting after 2022, after he extended his term in 2022, CCP's national party conference, right? He went to he was officially into his third term. That's at the very beginning of his third term. He had a meeting with all different part of the China CCP's national security force, police force, and intelligence units all together. They have a pretty big, significant meeting that Xi Jinping took lead and asked, all these people taking all necessary measure possible, uh, and it's especially focused on using the relations they build in the years with the Western world to destroy Shen Yun and Falun Gong. That was how, So all of a sudden, from October of 2022, then they escalate their threat and their work against the Shen Yun to a whole new level.
so whatever Shen Yun is, whatever Falun Gong is, you are not allowed to think about it, to listen to what it says, to listen to what its advocates want you to hear, because we, the Chinese Communist Party, do not want you to listen or hear. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been the first hour of China Now, the 282nd edition, right here in April of 2026, when things are getting very hot and interesting in the Persian Gulf and in Asia. When we come back, we're going to look at the impact President Donald Trump, is having on the Chinese Communist Party, Xi Jinping, and our relationship with the Middle Kingdom, 中国. So do stay tuned. We will be right back after these messages. Let's see. Okay, are we ready to roll?
Yeah, yep. I just went out to put out my flag.
Good for you.
Yeah, I put a flag there like every day. It's
Huh?
if it's not raining in front of my house.
I have a big one too. I don't keep it out there all the time, but I on every
I'll
special.
I'll try to if it's sunny.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so then you're a target. Could be because you have a flag out. Okay, here we go. We'll start again. Five, four, three, two, one.好，同学们，我们伟大来的，我们是中国现在 China now. With your gang of two, Nan Su, who is the senior investigative reporter for Epoch Times, and yours truly, Michael Olson, who wanted at one time, even dreamed in Chinese at one time, of going to be a China hand, but was dissuaded from doing so from the great helmsman himself, Mao Zedong. And I guess I'm kind of grateful that I didn't, because I probably would not have lasted very long there. Nansu, it's been an incredible week. It started off with a wheeling and dealing in Pakistan. Our Vice President J.D. Vance was over there meeting with the Iranian people, and Trump said, "You better sign a deal or I'll bomb you into oblivion." The Iranians didn't go for the deal. J.D. Vance came home empty handed. Donald Trump, instead of bombing Iran, instituted a ceasefire for a couple of weeks, and then, lo and behold, instituted a blockade of Chinese or of Iranian ports, shutting down the economy of Iran. So essentially, Trump has bombed Iran pretty much back into the dark ages, taken out a lot of its infrastructure, including its natural gas processing facilities. And Iran runs on natural gas. So Trump has turned out the lights, turned off the heat, and and shut down the economy, and is sitting on Iran until it starves itself into oblivion, which probably shouldn't take too long because it has no source of income now.
I'm not sure if
I'm
that's
not
true.
sure if that's true.
Yeah,
Well,
I
we'll
don't think I'm
see.
not sure if that's true. All these hardliners, they will if you don't really touch their military, they are going to sustainable for long, long, very long time.
They
Uh,
probably have 30 years of TV dinners stored away underneath the bunkers and those caves way down deep in Iran.
uh, Not yet. They're well, they're still in control of the country, right? Um, so we're
I
not.
have no idea who's running the place. I assume that it's the I IRG, the Islam Republican Guard, Iran's Republican Guard, that is running the country. They're the hardliners. They're the ones who shoot all the dissidents and whatnot, correct?
You can see, the official first wave military attack have brought the Iranian regime to the negotiation table. No doubt about that. If it was not for the reason of the attack, military attack so successful, they're not going to come to the negotiation table.
Right.
But
And they were going to get fed weapons and whatnot from other countries, such as China.
right. So I think that by the way, we now learn from Financial Times that China gave Iranian regime a satellite in 2024. Now that's how Iranian has been collecting the intelligence from that satellite, and that's how they got all the information about the U.S. military base near and around Iran, and that's how they make the attack and destroy U.S.
Airplanes on the ground.
Airplane on the ground, right? And then causing the injuries of U.S. Military personnel. So you can see China is there,
And
China.
China um, ta has been suggested that China is sending the shoulder-fired anti-aircraft rocket launchers into China, into Iran as well.
That's how they
And
shot down the F-15, right?
yes, that's how they got the
So
F.
when you fly, in the altitude, that's how those weapons can be, become effective.
So in what appears to be a direct threat to China, Trump has announced that any country selling arms to Iran would be subjected to a 50% tariff,
Which he has not done yet.
which he has not
Trump is
done yet.
just making that threat. He didn't do it yet. Now, I think the military action stopped too early in Iran. Uh,
Ah,
yeah, this is the key. I think that we need at least one more wave, probably another couple weeks of military action. The military has not finished their job yet. We stopped too early. That's how you see. I think the game that
sure, we've wounded the enemy, but we have not killed him.
that's right. We have not done enough bombing or military attack to make the inside Iranian regime the realist factions that want to come to the negotiation table. They're not in the upper hand. So so therefore right now you can see, when JD Vance went to Islamabad, that they suppose, at the beginning they have a group of representative from Iranian regime, but then later they add a bunch of others. It's just to watching that group, right? So you see that clearly they have people from different factions watching each other. That's why they're not able to make the decision. So I think that that inside that the hardline regime has not been weakened enough, so that the realist faction will take control, so that we can work with that faction, so that you will lead us to Venezuela model.
So we need to target IRG, and we need a couple more weeks of pounding them into oblivion,
Right,
as Trump
right,
says.
right. So our IRGC as well as the Molas. I think these are the two groups. We have not done besides besides killing the Khamenei, we didn't really do enough to destroy the Mullahs group.
Do you know if there is a significant difference between the mullahs of Shia Islam and the mullahs of Sunni Islam? I mean,
Well,
I don't
I
see the
think that the
mullahs of Saudi Arabia
Ayatollahs,
like
right? They call it Ayatollahs, right?
that.
So I mean, I'm not against the Muslim. The problem is uh, those extreme religious crazy
Well,
people.
isn't that part of Islam though? Isn't conquering with the sword a tenet of Islam?
It's probably more extreme than that. It's um, just like the group are basically always chanting "Death to America." So that's the group. we have not done that those religious group that need to be destroyed, and I mean that's the threat to the Western civilization. Uh, uh, we have not done enough, so that's why we're seeing now that I
So
think that
those mullahs are the ones that give religious authority to the IR uh, to the Republican Guard to go out and shoot 40,000 people.
probably yeah, especially
So
the
so
IRGC,
if you
right?
don't get rid of those mullahs, they will always be standing behind everybody with
I
a
think
sword.
that what the Iranian regime right now playing the game is they try to jack the peace, not the peace, the ceasefire. They try to jack the ceasefire as long as possible. You just
Yeah,
watch. They're going to trying to convince Trump that they're not ready. They want more time, and then you can see that the Trump from 48 hours to 10 days to 2 weeks. The next time they're going to ask for a month. It just keep going, dragging this thing going longer and longer, and
digging out their tunnels all the while.
right. So I don't think I don't think the military operation shall stop. You know,
Well, we'll
just too
see.
early. I think
Yeah,
it's too early to stop it. I
we'll
mean,
see.
I think the negotiation need to be uh I think the Trump administration need to keep the negotiation going while the military operation uh
Is
it's
going on.
it's going on. Yes.
And maybe he can do, he can have the negotiations, continue the military operation, while at the same time going to Beijing to visit Xi Jinping. That would be something.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a good idea. Yeah. Well, just solve. It's just one problem. One.
One
So
thing after the other.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just one thing at a time, right? So, but I think that the earlier that the Trump administration go back to the military action, the earlier the peace will come. Uh,
Well, it's not just a military, it's not just kinetic, it's also economic. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent just said that the United States plans to target Iran economically with the financial equivalent of a bombing campaign.
Well,
Yesterday,
that one is also take a long time. We have been sanctioned Iran for
yeah,
how long? Many years, right? That one is just not. It just not. It won't become. It won't quickly become effective. You can keep going. Those things are you just. It's just more or less like lip service. It's
yeah. Well, Bessent said the U.S. will also impose secondary sanctions on countries that purchase Iranian oil. So if you buy the oil, you're going to get sanctioned too. So, and if you
Well,
sneak
they
around,
don't they say they don't need to talk about it. They can make it become effective right away. But the only pretty much the only countries that buying oil from Iran is China.
China. Well,
Right? Well, they have not done anything. I have not seen anything being done.
yeah,
It's just all
they're
this is just
threatening it.
talk.
Yeah, they're
Yeah, it's
threatening.
always just talk, and so that's why I say if you want to talk about that, talk about that a little later. Have another couple weeks of bombing and have Israeli and U.S. military completely finish their job and then start talking. That will be much more effective, and the result will be much quicker. All this when you talk about when you use the economic sanction and financial sanction to the regime with a very very strong ideological belief, um usually the result will come very very slow. You just look at Cuba. you know how many years we've been sanctioned Cuba.
Well, Cuba's always been fed by others, though. I mean,
But it will happen the
first
same
it was
way.
Russia and then Venezuela.
Yeah, it will happen the same way. I think China wouldn't mind, the CCP wouldn't mind give them some economic aid through the land, right? They have the rails that all different, maybe by rail, the road, the big trucks, they can somehow the railway and the truck and all these things will kind of. China will, the CCP probably will be able to send some economic aid
Yeah.
to Iran. So
Well, clearly the strategy is to totally squeeze the life out of the Iran economy. And people will, I'm sure, find ways of helping out Iran for the promise of oil in the future, if not now, uh, and do everything they can to subvert this blockade and this financial uh, attack as well, economic fury. So, but still, it's having a tremendous impact on the body politic of the world because instead of bombing, Trump is just totally suppressing. So, which is very interesting. Now, how do you think this is impacting Xi Jinping in his preparation for this meeting, which is going to come in 1 month?
well, it depends how successful this blockade will work, right? Yeah, I think that it's better if we keep bombing Iran for another 2 weeks and then have the things totally uh, it's totally in control by the U.S. and Israeli alliance, and then go to Beijing. But now it's just too early to.
Well, when does the ceasefire end? It's been going a week. It was supposed to go at 13 days or something like that. So,
Well, first of all, the first thing how Trump started it was like 48 hours, right? Then
yeah.
48 hours, then they extended to 10 days, and then 2 weeks. So it's close to a month now.
So it could end almost at any time. So it depends on if Trump sees some kind of potential there.
I just do not think
You don't see it. A lot of other people do not see it. Almost everybody who watches it very closely say, as you say, that they'll do and say anything to buy time.
that's
And
right.
then once they bought the time, they will go about doing what they've always done, which is enrich uranium and build a nuclear bomb and dig deeper tunnels and prepare to fight the ultimate fight, which is what the whole religious, political, economic structure is set up to do.
Yeah. So I think it's just the actions stopped too early.
So you think Trump will pick it up, or do you think he'll wait it out?
I think he will let it. I hope, but by next Thursday, it's next Thursday. It's officially the end of ceasefire, right?
Okay,
I
there it
see. I
is.
think he would. I hope he would just pick up from there. And
Week from today.
yeah, yeah, just
He's
the
got one
finish.
more week. What do you think of his move of not invading Karg Island?
Well, the new idea of total blockade of Persian Gulf, basically, it does the same thing with invading Cargo Island. It's the same purpose, right?
Without
Uh,
having to shoot any bullets.
that's right, and it's safer for the U.S. military service. The men and women in service, so it's safer, and see that it serves the same purpose, but I don't think we are at a point that we should stop the military action.
Well, there are probably a lot of people who think the same way, and we are posed to continue it. And we, like the Iranian side, are probably oiling up our guns and polishing
Well,
our boots and getting ready, huh?
yeah, well, make no mistake, I think that kind of like uh I'm not totally against it. There's a lot of people totally against this period of time of ceasefire. I'm not totally against it because it still brings some results, and the U.S. government had a close contact with the Iranian regime people, which never happened, and or you can closely monitor, the kind of the fight, the disagreement among different factions in the regime, right? And then probably during this piece, I hope that during last, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of ceasefire time, then they collect enough intelligence for the next wave of
Right,
military.
right. I'm sure the satellites are busy cataloging all the improvements that are attempting to be made as we move forward here. Um, and to see if indeed they can pull all of it together. Going to be interesting to see how this shakes out as we prepare for the Xi Trump meeting. What does Trump want from Xi Jinping, and what does Xi Jinping want from Trump?
Well, if I think Trump going to Beijing, it's more or less be focused. Iran, it's not a focus. We have total control. In China, the CCP in no way to negotiate with Trump administration for things happening in the Middle East. They have no say, because they have no power and capacity to stop that. So I think it's basically still be focused on the trade and economic relation with China.
Okay.
Uh, uh,
So it's
and
not as strategic geopolitics. We're not going to talk about Venezuela. We're not going to talk about Cuba or any of the other South American countries. We're going to talk about economics and how we can better work together and make money.
well, I think it's about I don't know. I think, it's good that Trump goes to Beijing so that there was to find a way to keep the peace in the Western Pacific,
Mhm.
not about Middle East. West, it's the peace at the Western Pacific, and also it's the trade and economic relationship between China and the United States. I think that's what Trump is going to focus. But however, what has been going on in Iran, in the Middle East, made Trump has a full hands of upper hand cards. He had all the strong cards in his hand, and because he had the energy, right? He could, United States, now we are the energy exporting country. We have Venezuela, and we have all the alliance build up in the
Now we
Middle.
have a lot of cards in our hand.
Yep.
What
Xi
does Xi
Jinping doesn't
Jinping?
have any car.
He doesn't have any cards, but even worse than that, Nansu, is that it would seem like Xi Jinping has totally lost face with the world's community of nations, his allies, and the people he has in his prison. I mean, he appears to have lost everything given Trump's activities over the last year.
uh,
From Panama to Venezuela, Trump has just been on a roll. And Xi Jinping has been not been able to do a thing to stop him. All of Xi Jinping's weapons that he has sold to his allies have proved to be completely ineffective. His Belt and Road Initiative, which he sold to the developing nations of the world by putting them into this debt prison, are turning sour on him. So Xi Jinping has no face, and what does he have to offer that Donald Trump wants?
I don't see anything.
That's what I'm thinking the same thing too. Ladies and gentlemen, this is China Now. We're going to take a quick break. What do you think Xi Jinping has to offer now? I don't know.
Satisfy your hunger with a fresh, prepared, twice daily grab-and-go sushi you'll find waiting for you at Sushi Market Sprouts, 2 blocks from the beach at 300 7th Avenue in Santa Cruz. Fresh, delicious, and oh so good.
Hello, I'm Junko, and I look forward to serving you at the Sushi Market Sprouts.
Satisfy your hunger right now with the delicious ramen and sushi you'll find waiting for you at Kaito. Easy in and out location in the Capitola Mall food court. Special orders welcome. Fresh, delicious, and oh so good.
This is Koji. I'm looking forward to seeing you at my restaurant, Kaito.
California goes to the fertile valleys inland. Earthwise Land Service is your land's best friend. Earthwise can clear it, mulch it, move it, sculpt it, grade it, drain it, or retain it, any way you choose. Earthwise Land Service is your land's best friend.
Hi, I'm Carolyn, and I have some property behind my home at Larkin Valley that I've never seen. It was completely overgrown with brush and poison oak, well over 10 feet high. I wanted to have it cleared to protect my horses from wildfires, but nobody could do the job. Then I called Buck at Earthwise. Buck brought out his big brush-eating machine and turned all the brush and poison oak into mulch. It was truly transformational. Thanks to Earthwise, my property is now like a park and I can trail ride my horses.
Earthwise Land Service is your land.
There is more than one way to enjoy the benefits of cannabis. Hi, I'm Carly from Treehouse Dispensary, 3651 SoCal Drive, SoCal. With tinctures, Treehouse tinctures are available in many different flavors, are rapid acting and versatile, and offer precise dosage control for consistent enjoyment. Treehouse has a friendly staff to help you select the right tincture for your needs. Blue raspberry, anyone? Stop by and say hi. Treehouse Dispensary, 3651 SoCal Drive, SoCal.
Or ourtreehouse.io.
Lida. Nansu, we were talking about how Xi Jinping has appeared to lose much face that he built up over the years as being the dominant figure of a rising China that was going to take over the world. But things have been melting away, and he appears to be very weak by just about everybody, which to me is very, very dangerous. Because what happens when you corner a mama grizz in the woods? You're going to be in trouble. And I suspect that if Xi Jinping sees one way out of all of this, it would be to invade Taiwan.
Well, I have been saying, many times that that's their last resort, right? They are doing that. It's a partial invasion. That's what they're going to do. It's to really, for the purpose of control. If they think they're going to lose control of mainland China. That's how they're going to start doing that.
So if you lose control, you have to do something to gain control. The most important factor is to maintain the control of the Chinese Communist Party over their prison, which is the People's Republic of China. And anything that threatens that control has to be dealt with at all costs.
Yeah,
So,
that's how they're going to start a partial invasion, and then, but make no mistake, that's going to destroy not only the economy of Taiwan, but the economy of the entire world, right? Because you have semiconductor over there that's going to be destroyed, and there's a lot of things going to be destroyed.
yeah, probably a couple of militaries, and but does that matter if the stakes are the Chinese Communist Party's survival? So we're looking at the same thing in Iran right now, kind of. You have a country that's on its knees, um, and how is it going to survive? How is the how are the mullahs and the IRG and that controlling religious uh, bureaucracy that runs the country? How is that going to survive when Trump is pulling out all of the rugs from underneath its feet? Its economy, it has no money now. Um, and a lot of that appears to be happening in not quite the same extent, of course, as it is um, in Iran. But look what happened to Venezuela. My goodness, Trump went in there and plucked Maduro out and essentially took over running Venezuela. And now Venezuela is sending us 1 million barrels of oil a day or whatever it is. It's just extraordinary. Um, so how are you going to protect the Chinese Communist Party? And he's going to be meeting with Trump, and I think that's his number one thing on his agenda is to preserve the Chinese Communist Party.
Yeah, it's true. It's interesting, it's pretty much I would say it's interesting how this meeting will go, but probably Trump will probably not go in there until that
Iran is resolved.
Iran, yeah, it's all settled, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's no need for him to comply with his currently scheduled time frame. He can go whenever he wants because he's pretty much in control now, isn't he?
I hope so. I
I
don't
think
think.
he is. It looks like he is. It looks like he's in control
Yep.
of, and also now, as we look at the control he's exerted over Venezuela, over Panama, over um, Iran, how do you think his way of controlling, of blockading uh, all of the oil coming out of Iran looks to somebody who's looking to invade Taiwan? Now, uh, there's a lot of military strategy being put on the table there for consideration by the Chinese Communist Party and its military, the People's Liberation Army. Um, how do you think they're seeing this invasion of Iran? Is it applicable to their plans to invade Taiwan, or is it something totally different?
I think that there's a lot of things. It's mainly it's the oil, right?
That's the oil.
Yeah, the energy. China, China basically have to. China have to. I think China need to uh import like 70%.
Raw materials in, manufactured goods out.
Right, right. They have to import. They have to import. Uh, what? They have to import 70% of the oil. From s- uh, from outside. Uh, from all these different countries. Mainly from the Middle East, right?
Right?
So that uh and then the 70% of the oil uh they use, they import it, it's from the Middle East. So how they're going to deal with that, I think that that's a main thing.
Trump's sitting on their oil.
That's right. They that's how Xi Jinping is totally scared right now, right? That's the key. Um, but anyway, um,
So this is a real significant turning point in an ongoing war between China and the United States that has been conducted with pretty much non-kinetic means, which is to say everything but shooting, right? Everything
right,
but guns and bullets. We've been fighting with them on every terms possible, um, with everything but guns and bullets, and for 40 years. And China has been winning that war hands down because the United States hasn't even been fighting it. For most part, didn't even know we were engaged in it. And now we are. And it's Trump that stepped up to the line. So it's either a turning point in this long-standing conflict. And so I just wonder uh, what Trump wants from Xi Jinping. What is it that he wants? What, a fair trade? Let's just do business on what basis? Well, the way China does business is mercantilism. It develops industries that dominate industries, clothing, uh, electric vehicles, whatever. It develops businesses that are so big and so strong and so dominant that nobody can compete with them. And if they can compete with them, the CCP just lowers the price anyway. And so you'll never be able to compete with them. Is that what Trump wants to address with Xi Jinping? And how would Xi Jinping respond? That's kind of like asking the mullahs not to want to kill America.
that's interesting. I don't know.
Well, no, I don't think anybody knows, but Trump must know what he wants from Xi Jinping because he always speaks so glowingly of their relationship.
Yeah.
But so he must know what he wants from Xi Jinping. And on the other hand, what does Xi Jinping want from Donald Trump? Uh, I don't know. What does he want? Access to the world that Trump's taking away all of his countries. Boy, it's a very interesting place we are in the world today. Have you ever seen anything like it in history? I don't know if I have. Must have been something that's comparable. Probably Victor Davis Hanson would know. But it sure is an interesting one. So, the war is almost over, Trump says. He's very certain of himself, pretty much all the time. Uh, and he suggests that the pressure he's putting on Iran will bear fruit maybe by tomorrow or maybe Monday. He's that certain.
I'm not that.
Nansu's not
I'm
that
not that
certain.
certain. I'm not that certain. I'm not
Um,
that certain. Yeah. That's interesting. That it's interesting.
so if the war is over, if Donald Trump does manage to get an agreement with the mullahs, will the mullahs keep the agreement? I don't think they ever have. Why would they start now? Unless Trump has some kind of way of guaranteeing their compliance, because just taking their word for it isn't going to work.
No, it's not.
And all of this, Nansu, has a tremendous bearing on the midterm elections coming up, a time in which the Democrat Party could take control back of the government, legislative branch at least, from Trump. And I would suspect that weighs heavily on the mullahs and Xi Jinping as well. If they can last out Trump and win through to the November midterm elections and win that, here I am talking about the mullahs winning our election. But it's true, is it not?
Uh, yeah, the midterm election. I think that the Iranian regime, they really try to what they're trying to do is to drag as long as they can, so that things will change, right?
Which would be the first indication of that would be the midterm elections. And then maybe we get rid of Trump and whoever follows him and have a friendlier regime show up. Maybe somebody like Obama who tries to drown you with $100 bills. And it
Huh?
worked. And it worked for them for a long, long time.
Well, basically, I think the only way to deal with it is don't stop bombing for now. It's
Well, I I certainly believe that you can't let them stand up again. You have them down, you can't let them get back up again. If you're in a struggle the extent to which we are, you have to find um, a way to win. And it's Trump is asking for an unconditional surrender. And is that something the mullahs can give him?
well, you have to bomb them enough so they will hand it to you. Now it's not the time to do it.
And the people of Iran who are not who are what's left of that secular Iran that was subsumed by the Islamists in 47 years ago. I suspect they want Islamic Revolutionary Guard to get out of Dodge. Please get out of here. But as, who was it, Lenin said, one man with a gun can control 100 men without a gun. And the IRG has all the guns. And the people of Iran have none of the guns. It's like the people of China have none of the guns. And the Chinese Communist Party has all of the guns. So those two parties have control until they're bombed into oblivion, I guess.
Yeah, that's why it's important the military action keeps going for at least for a while, finish all the military work. I don't think, the Israeli and US military have had enough time to finish all they need to do in Iran yet.
Well, Iran's been building their fortifications for 47 years. They built a lot. The tunnel network is absolutely extraordinary that they built into these granite mountains. And it's hard to say whether with our big bunker buster bombs, we've been able to do anything about those tunnels at all. Have no idea. And I don't think anybody does. Probably not even the Iranians when it gets right down to it. So there we are. We're at a stasis, and we're at a standoff. We're at a ceasefire, and we're staring across each other. And Trump is saying, you must give us an unconditional surrender. You must give up everything that you want in the world, which is total control of the world when it gets right down to it. That's what the IRG, that's what the mullahs want. Death to America. We want you to give up death to America. Do you think the mullahs have the ability to give that up?
I don't think the mullahs will give that up, and I don't think the hard military personnel in Iran will give that up. It's just impossible. I don't think they'll do that, and that's why we need. I think that you already see that there is a growing realist. Uh, Faction in the Iranian regime trying to negotiate with the United States. So that's why. Um,
Well, I've actually seen reports of the conventional military in Iran going after the IRG.
yeah, they're just not strong enough yet.
It's
They
just
need
not
some.
strong enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You need to weaker the IRGC a little more, weaker the mullahs a little more. I think that's all we need to do.
But heck, they're just going to hide out in their caves, and then it's just whack-a-mole. When they pop their heads up, you whack them, and then they go back down in the tunnels. Just anybody who's fought gophers in their yard, that's pretty much where we're at right now. So Donald Trump is asking for everything, not just something, everything. And if the mullahs agree to give him everything, how will Trump know that they're going to give him everything as they agreed to? What are we going to stand guard? I guess we can stand guard. We have satellites. We can watch and see whatever they're doing. Although, except we can't see way down in those tunnels what they're doing. enriching uranium, building nuclear bombs, building ballistic missiles that can carry those bombs all the way across the world. And what about our allies who are now within reach of those bomb-laden ballistic missiles? Are they going to show up to the Tea Party here? So to me, I mentioned this. I think Iran is actually more dangerous than China is at this point in time.
Yeah, it's true.
And in addressing the issue of Iran at this time, I heard somebody talking about, I don't understand why Trump blew it the way he blew it. In January, he had this incredible coalition of the willing. He had everybody on his sides. But now there's dissent in the ranks. There's anxiety. And he's lost that loving feeling that he had in January. Maybe true, but what choice did Trump have? He could have done like all the other 7 presidents did and do nothing, in which case China would have those bombs and would have those ballistic missiles and would have those deep caverns to hide out in. Wow. So that's where we're at, right?
Well, I think that Trump, the only difference between Trump and always and all the previous U.S. presidents is that Trump doesn't have any time to
He
lose.
didn't have a choice.
Yeah, he doesn't have the choice. He have to add. Now, but it's more important that he need to get some result because we can bomb them, we can take all their capacity of making uh, nuclear weapons you know away, but they already know how to do it. That's the
Sure.
key. They already know how to do it, and they have tons of money. They are sitting on a huge,
I bet they are.
yeah, they have all the money in the world, and they already know how to do it. So how to finish this?
How to
This is
finish the job.
right. How to finish the job? This is the key. It's being successful, but it's just not. Is how are you going to settle this thing?
How to
Uh,
get all the gophers in the lawn.
right, right.
So, and it's going to be a tough one. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a week left of the ceasefire. We have no agreement. Trump is demanding an unconditional surrender from the mullahs of Iran. You must give up everything. I don't know if the mullahs in Iran have the capability to give up what they have been praying for 47 years, which is the death to America and Israel. But it would not only be the death to America and Israel, it would also be the death to Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, uh, the whole Middle East, the Levant, everything. That is the true target. So 1 week from today, next Thursday, the ceasefire ends. Which will cave? Will it be Donald Trump or will it be the mullahs? Who do you think? Stay tuned next week, this time, as China Now may have the answer, if there is one. So thank you very much on behalf of Nansu, Michael Olson, and the entire crew. And we'll see you next week right here on China Now for what on earth is going to happen. See you then.